whom Tantra is really for. It is, first of all, for people who value freedom above all else. Now, the term liberation means freedom, so in a way, all religions seek freedom from bondage. But if you want liberation from the concept of liberation, then Tantra might be for you. Because just look at what these so-called righteous people do. In the name of mukti, they put themselves in shackles. There are so many things they are forbidden to eat, to read and do that you can't even remember all the time. There are many paths that completely prohibited one to even look upon women. Even one's own mother was not allowed to go near these sannyasins. Why do you think there are so many injustices done to women throughout history? It was because these people saw women as nothing more than a distraction on the path. And since ordinary people revered these men in religious uniform, they just followed the way they behaved. The result is the rise of atheism in modern society. People have had enough of their nonsense and now completely throwing all things remotely religious away. Tantra is the middle path. There is no restrictions in Tantra. Only self-discipline is what is required. Now, many people equate discipline and self-control with restrictions, but that is not so. When a car is under your good control, can you run it faster or slower in fear? Discipline gives you true freedom, and discipline is never imposed by someone else. Discipline is to understand the misery of an indisciplined life and choosing to always remain alert. If you decide to sit for 90 minutes every day and try your best to never miss it, then that's discipline. Never make it too strict and complicated. That's what most people do. They suddenly decide to wake up at 4 a.m. and work out, then meditate and then go to work. They may do it a few days and then they get bored and leave everything and go back to their old habits. In Tantra, discipline is highly necessary because there are so many pitfalls. There is no substitute for it. But remember, what you need is discipline, not restrictions. Restrictions are for right-hand path religions. Restrictions are for people who cannot maintain discipline. They're like children, prohibited to do certain things. Tantra is not for such immature people who needs to be told what to do and what not to do at every turn. It is also for people who love earth, animals, and all things natural, for it is the way of the earth. If you love the night and all things dark in nature, then it can be for you. Most just avoid the dark, but it is in our darkest subconscious lies the truth about ourselves. If you're not afraid to face your own inner darkness without hating it, then Tantra can be for you. Of course, you don't always act upon these primal instincts, but you also don't fight it. You simply see them the way they are and leave them that way. And always remember, once you become aware of a certain sanskar or habitual tendencies, then they lose control over you. People act violently because they don't understand where it comes from. When you know its origin, violence no longer controls you. Now, the difference between you and a sadhaka of mainstream religion is the sadhaka of the later completely gets rid of it and become timid, whereas a tantric understand that violence can sometimes be used as a tool because it too is part of the world as it is. And the tantric is not a world denier, but he does not suffer in violence like an ordinary person. He takes it on as a weapon and leaves it when its use is done. Same can be said about lust, greed, or any other so-called negative emotions. All can be used and then put aside. Without lust, we can't make love. And without greed, you can never build a business. So we must be able to use these emotions, but with total awareness. And we should also be able to put them aside when their job is done. So you already see how paradoxical this way seems. To completely leave the world and live the rest of your life in a secluded monastery, away from the violence and lust of the world, is simple. But to live in it all and still being disciplined is hard. That's why Tantra is not for everyone. It is only for those who understands the darkness, accepts it as it is, and does what he must. Tantra is also for people of a feminine nature. The nature of feminine is receptivity. If you like to be only around people that are like yourself while rejecting all others, then this is not your path. It is obviously not necessary to force yourself to live with people you don't like at all. But you cannot simply shut the door to everyone who seems a little different than you. This is why in most right-hand path ashrams and places of worship, you're not even allowed to discuss other paths. Only their path is right, and that's what you must follow or get out. This is not the attitude of left-hand path.
Above all, it is for those who does not want to live in denials, be it self-denial or denial of a worldly truth. Left-hand path embraces all in its totality.